Hi, and welcome to this week's Three Legs, Four Wheels F1 podcast. It's Paul here with...
Sean.
Chris.
Lee.
What size are you this week, Chris?
Normal for now.
It's a very personal question.
Well, he was giant a couple of weeks ago, and then last week he was so small he didn't even turn up, but we obviously all heard him get electrified.
Apparently, yes. I was electrified last week. Again.
So how are we all doing?
Solid.
All right.
It couldn't be better.
Couldn't be better sounds like you're really good, Lee.
I don't know why I am anymore.
Like, did you win millions or something? Or...
No.
So you could be better.
Yeah, it could
Just being a realist, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. It's not a bad thing. It's given the tools at my disposal, I can't be any better. Take that as you will.
Hashtag best life.
Hashtag only life.
Yeah, I don't understand that living your best life. You're just living.
Anyone that says hashtag living my best life is unbelievably depressed with their lives. And nobody, the only person that can say they are truly living their best life is The Rock.
I don't know, I'd throw Batman into the mix.
Which one?
And maybe Alec Baldwin up until a couple of weeks ago.
I think we'll skip over that
We're
one.
starting as we mean to go on.
I can hear people pressing stop already.
It's okay. It's the only interesting thing he's ever done.
He was good in 30 Rock.
I never watched it.
Ah, well, there you go then. I don't know if you're into salacious Hollywood gossip. The divorce between him and Kim Basinger was...
He's got a fake Spanish wife.
Oh, yes.
Who's not.
Hang on, wait. She's a fake wife or she's fake Spanish?
She's fake Spanish. She calls herself Hilaria and speaks in a Spanish accent, but she's really called Hillary and is from, Boston.
That's hilarious.
I've got to admit, and no offence to... Actually, no, fuck it. Every offence to anyone from Boston. If you had a Boston accent, you'd change it.
That's a good
I
answer.
don't know.
Oh, he's got giant. He's got giant.
Hello again.
Oh, we're getting giant.
Let's see if I can fix this.
We're going to get giant Boston flood.
It's because of...
Sorry, go on, Sean.
I was going to say, he's been inspired by Shaquille O'Neal.
I think it's more he's getting in the mood for Christmas so he can play the Ghost of Christmas Present.
Santa flood. Am I back to normal?
You're back to
You are
normal now.
normal size.
That's fine.
No, he's silent now on my end.
Oh.
This is going well.
Oh,
So this is...
Everyone can hear me except Lee.
Flood, now's your chance.
No. This is being recorded.
This is the thing. He could download it and listen back. Bruce,
Yeah, that's
come
the
on.
worry. That's the
Yeah,
big,
and obviously
big worry.
I thought that.
Are we
We'll
hitting...
just carry on.
Are we
and
hitting
Lee
pause,
will
or are we
then-
just going to try and power through?
This is hilarious for the
Power through
listeners.
it. Well, it fixed last time, didn't it? It fixed itself. I'm guessing this is... Considering flood went from giant flood to, invisible flood, I'm
Only
guessing that
in
this
Lee's
is definitely
house.
a flood end problem.
Yeah, I can hear Lee. Lee can't hear me.
So Flood can hear Lee. Lee can't hear Flood. I've got a fucking cat in my microphone.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, this is going spectacular tonight.
That Bruno is doing some ASMR by rubbing his arse on the microphone.
Am I going to have to...
Cat-ass.
Am I going to have to
Yeah,
mix that?
I can hear flood.
The first thing that Lee hears when Flood comes back is cat ass.
Good.
That'll do.
To be fair, I don't think he ever couldn't hear the cat arse.
Yeah, I think we're good. We're good again. So we should just carry on.
The
Everyone's
cat
loving
arse
this.
Grand Prix, that's coming up.
Can we
later
just throw...
this year.
Yeah, can we just throw a bit of Manx politics in and we've ticked all the boxes? Oh, bloody hell. Right, 5 minutes in. Better talk about Formula One at some point, I suppose.
Eventually.
Yeah, what did we all think to yesterday's US Grand Prix then?
It was good.
It
but
was. It
not
was a
as
good
good
race.
as people are trying to say it was, but it was still good.
Yeah, I'm with Lee.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot going on. A lot looked like it was going to happen, but then not a lot really excuse me, did happen because I don't know why. It all seemed to happen early on, and then the passes that were made later on didn't seem to matter that much.
Yeah,
And I called it very early that Mercedes got it wrong.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, it was a good race. It held my interest well, but yeah, I think I think I would have liked to see Hamilton get a bit closer in the last couple of laps and actually attempt some kind of pass to actually try and have that change of lead late on would have been fun.
Yeah. I think they needed to give him about 20, 22 laps. I think they gave him like 19, and I was like, that's not enough if something goes a little bit wrong, and it wasn't.
I think it was enough laps, but once again, we see the Mercedes issue with following other cars, and that's fine. It's a perfectly fine way to go about your racing, as long as you can guarantee you have the best car on the grid to do it with. And Mercedes don't have the best car on the grid anymore.
No, agreed.
Oh no, sorry, not. They haven't got the best car on the grid anymore at every single race, or the majority of the races.
Yeah.
Well, this should have been. We'll get on to Mercedes and later on, but this should have been their race, and look who won, not Mercedes. So,
and that not the first time that's happened either, is it?
No. It's these little mistakes are going to cost them the championship, and I think it's gone. I think that's it now for as far as. I mean, of course, you could still have a DNF or anything else happen to Max or to Lewis, but I think as far as normal circumstances, if races went normally for the last 5 races, I think Lewis is done.
Well, I heard an interesting thing talking about this on the BBC podcast, I think it was, and
Feet friend of the podcast, Jenny Gow.
Of course.
And Palmer was talking about what races are coming, what races should suit Red Bull, what should suit Mercedes.
It's easy for you to say.
Yeah, he's saying realistically, the US should have suited Mercedes more than it did, but clearly whatever gains Red Bull have made was enough to even it. He said, but the latter ones should still swing towards Mercedes just because of long straights, essentially. And if Max wins the next 2 races and Lewis wins the following 3 races, I think, and gets, I can't remember where the fastest laps went. I think that's with each winner taking the fastest lap. They end up equal on points.
Ooh, tense.
Which would give Max the win on countback?
I think
so.
I think it's Lewis. I can't remember now. I thought with Lewis, if Lewis wins those last 3 races, I think Lewis might do it by a win.
Well, he's 3 behind already, so I think I think that will go to Max. Yeah.
But I know. I just thought it was an interesting scenario. That'd be a horrible way to end a championship.
Oh yeah, I mean the countback would be just pretty devastating. Let's have a look. So Lewis is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Max is 1, 2.
It's
3,
8-5, isn't it?
It is.
Well,
But should we do the start from the back and work forward to that point like we would normally?
It's the traditional way.
I think it is, and we'll start with Alpine this week.
It's not good to be French in the US Grand Prix this
Apparently
weekend.
No.
Not either by team or driver.
No, I mean, double DNF. Ocon had issues with the rear of the car, and Alonso broke his rear wing.
Yeah, and Alonso radioed it in, didn't he? He said, rear wing's broken, box, need to retire. So he felt that in the car before anybody spotted it, which is typical Alonso. However, I must say, comical Alonso has returned this weekend. Hey man, you can't pass me off the circuit, so I'm going to pass your teammate off the circuit and then claim that it's perfectly legal and celebrate it on the radio.
I mean, it was some prime whinging to Michael Massey from whoever it was on the Alpine pit
I think
wall.
was it Alan Permain?
It was Alan Permain, yeah.
it's his job, innit?
It is, yeah.
But I'm not being funny. There's got to be a point here because it's so muddy, isn't it? Like what is allowed, what isn't allowed. I've always stood by if you try and overtake somebody around the outside, then you shouldn't necessarily expect them not to run you off the track, and it's your job to get out of it essentially before that happens. In which case, I think Fernando is quite within his rights to run Kimi out. But so it's fine because it's Kimi and Alonso wrestling over a point. Maybe I think at the time was over 10th. I think
it was over like 14th place
Oh,
or
was it
something. I think it
14th?
was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. No, I remember at one point
They were fighting
in
for
the top
pride.
10, weren't they? But no, but the thing is, so it doesn't matter at that point. But that could have been the situation on the first lap of the first corner, which could dictate the race, which could dictate a championship. You know, we need to work this whole white line thing out. You know, and if you're not allowed to overtake off the circuit, you shouldn't be allowed to overtake off the circuit.
But the overtake wasn't done off the circuit, was it? He stayed next to him when he came
but
back.
he made the overtake by keeping his foot in off the circuit.
Yeah, but was he only off the circuit because Fernando put him there?
I would call it leaving the track and gaining a lasting advantage. i.e. the position.
I would say that move wouldn't have happened in Monaco.
It wouldn't have happened in Monaco. Yeah, absolutely. But it just seems that there needs to be like a hard and fast rule here, and a hard and fast rule for everybody, and that's Alonso's main gripe this year, isn't it? His rules being like dished out evenly among everybody, and even that one, there wouldn't have been such a big song and dance about it if Alonso hadn't been involved in it. If that would have been like not Leclerc because he'd been at the front, Stroll, say, down there, Stroll and Kimi, nobody would have cared. It wouldn't have made television. Probably wouldn't have even got investigated.
I don't know. They investigate Stroll for a lot of things.
Yeah, but it is something that needs fixed. It seems perfectly reasonable to me that white line, if you go off it X amount of times, you get a penalty. If you overtake somebody and you either keep your foot in off the outside the track, or you overtake someone off the track, you have to give that position back.
Well, either make it a barrier or make it grass, just not concrete or tarmac runoff. That makes it. If you keep your foot in when you're on the grass, you're going to go sideways. So
yeah,
that would be the easy thing to do, I suppose. Or maybe that's the idiot's suggestion to fixing the problem.
Maybe.
What was it Spinal Tap said? There's a thin line between stupid and very clever.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a hard one to call, but yeah, I will agree that the dishing out of warnings, reprimands, black and white flags, penalties, whatever, it can be a little bit subjective because two identical moves will get in the same place on the same track in the same race will get two different results.
Well, I think the honest thing to say here is, and I realise that Michael Massey is the race director and not the stewards, but since Charlie Whiting, yeah, I always get Charlie Whiting and Sid Watkins mixed up. But yeah, since Charlie Whiting died, the feels like there's a hole in that situation, in that control room. It feels like there's a power vacuum in there. Maybe it's just because Charlie Whiting had been there so long, and essentially he'd been there longer than the people shouting down the phone at him.
I think that's it, isn't it? You could hear in Michael Massey and Alan Permain's exchange that Alan Permain just was like, I'm just going to keep arguing with you, mate, because I don't really respect what you're saying.
Yeah.
Whereas I get the feeling if Charlie Whiting had said to him, look, in this instance, it's fine, go away, he'd have gone away.
Yeah. So it just makes me think that Massey might not be the man for his job.
It goes back to Belgium for me. When I said that there was no strong voice from Formula One at any point. I get the feeling again that somebody else in that position would have been a bit more forceful, should we say, a bit more stronger with their words, and people would have been like, okay, well, that's what's happening. But there just wasn't at all. There just wasn't any strength, or no respect came down from the top. There was nothing there. Nobody really knew where to look, and I totally understand what Sean's saying. People think they can argue with Michael Massey, whereas people didn't think they could argue with Charlie Whiting. Big difference.
I mean, it's typical new boss syndrome, isn't it? You get a new manager and everyone tries to see how far they can push things.
Yeah, but I mean, Belgium is the prime example. You're right. But this feels like it's been going on since the day he took the reins. I think if we were to sit down, and go through everything, we'd find other instances through this season.
Oh, almost definitely, yeah. Yeah, you already got to listen to the. I don't have access to the radio throughout the race, but I mean those who do will almost definitely be able to point to other instances where team bosses have argued with Michael Massey, where perhaps in previous years they wouldn't have argued so hard. And I'm not necessarily saying it's Massey's fault. I mean, it's just he's a very different personality. But there's clearly been a shift in what was happening and what is happening.
We've all gone quiet. That was very profound. Oh, I'll say we've all gone quiet except for Bruno Cat, who's.
I was going to say I thought I'd lost connection for a second there.
No, we can still definitely hear you. So Alpine, yeah, they double participation awards because they both participated.
Yes.
Haas next. Mazepin in 17th, and was he actually a full lap behind Schumacher?
I don't know if Schumacher lapped Mazepin, but he was a long way behind. I saw somebody tweeting yesterday. Has anyone else noticed that Nikita Mazepin appears to be a week behind everyone else?
I also saw the week behind tweet and had a bit of a laugh at his expense.
It's going to get to the end of the season, he'll pull the mask up and it's like, oh, it was Max Chilton all along. Man, that guy is slow.
Let me just see exactly how far he was behind, if I can find that.
There was one point when he was about 30 seconds behind the car in front after about 3 laps, and I had to do a thing of like, did he do a pit stop or not? It genuinely was not beyond the question that he might have just been 30 seconds back already.
Well, it turned
out an early incident.
He did, in fairness to him. I did him a disservice on that
It wasn't
occasion.
an incident, it was his headrest came loose, so he had to pull into the pits and they had to push the headrest back in.
Ah.
Both Haas drivers finished 2 laps down, but it looks like they were on the same lap.
In
I
fairness,
do not have the gap between Mick and Mazepin.
In fairness to Mick Schumacher, he did work very hard not to let Max Verstappen through for that second lapping.
Yes.
Yeah, I think I saw it on the live timing. I'll just see if the details are still on there. This isn't a let's bash Mazepin, but
yes, it is.
He was 1 minute 27 behind Mick Schumacher.
So just about on the same lap then,
yeah,
by about 10 seconds.
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy.
Although he did have an extra pit stop.
That's not 1 minute 27 seconds though, is it? Unless
30,
securing the headrest was a long stop that we didn't see. Because to be honest, it's not like we cut away from the racing to watch Haas make a stop, is it?
Well, I don't know, because this was a common rant all the way through. The TV direction was terrible.
It was pretty bad.
Every time something was about to happen, we got to see something that wasn't happening somewhere else.
Yeah, close up of Ben Stiller when Hamilton was right on the back of Verstappen. Didn't need it.
Yeah, what was it, 2-3 laps to go? Oh, we'll have Jos Verstappen taking a selfie.
Yeah, readjusting his mask.
I mean, I actually thought at first it was Zach Brown. If you don't look too hard, they do look similar. But yeah, the directors were just cutting away from anything and everything, just to show absolutely nothing in particular. Not even focusing on Lance Stroll driving round a chicane or something.
No, cutting to Lance Stroll is the go-to now, isn't it? When something interesting is about to happen.
Yeah, but this time, what was it? It was I think there was about 3 cars in the same bit of track, and somebody was about to make a pass, and we saw Bottas driving along the pit lane with his limiter on. Didn't even see the pit stop he was about to make, or had just made, but we just saw a Mercedes doing 60 kilometres an hour.
Do we think that was a panicked director who saw a Mercedes in the pit lane and was like, oh shit, it might be Hamilton?
And having a scheduled stop. And appearing on the driver tracker. Are we avoiding talking about Haas? Because there's not a great deal to talk about,
I don't know that I've got much more to say on Haas.
Move on.
Yay, homecoming. Williams, Russell 14th, Latifi 15th. Russell was looking good at some points. Latifi had a pretty bad start.
Yes. So
Didn't Latifi tangle with Stroll?
I think at first he got somehow tripped over a Haas, and that sort of put him into Stroll.
I think Mick sort of went a little bit wide on turn 1, and it put him into Stroll. Stroll ended up backwards, and Latifi ended up stopped.
Yeah, he had to change his nose cone early on, didn't he? So.
Yes. But yeah, I think he sort of just got himself on the wrong line and ended up with nowhere to go but Stroll.
Ocon was another early nose cone casualty, because he came in for a stop early on to get a new nose, because Kimi ran over it.
Ah.
Yes.
But other than that, there's not a lot you can say about Williams. I think Latifi's going to be getting the engine penalty in Mexico because Russell had it this week. Because this new, more reliable Mercedes ICE is coming out. All these reliability problems that they found just before the engine freeze.
No, but is it more reliability problems? Because all of a sudden, it's the Bottas had to have another engine thrown in. Is the reliability problem fixed?
No, Toto Wolff said it's not fixed. They understand it. That they don't know if they got time to fix it.
Because the big problem is we get to the end of this season and there's an engine freeze for what, 4 years?
Yes.
23,
technically
24,
speaking,
it's either 3 or 4 years. It's 2026. I think the new engines come in, isn't it?
For now.
Yeah. So when 2026 happens, we're not doing that again. Look at what happened the last time we did.
Yes, we might have caused a pandemic.
Yeah, there was four season freeze on engines, but they are allowed to do certain things to the engines, but they're not allowed to actually physically change. I'll have to find the rule, but yeah, they're allowed to do like mapping and the fuels can change and the fuel flows can change if F1 so decides to do that.
We need to get Scarbs on again to talk us through this.
Yeah, the ICE cannot change. I don't think the actual combustion engine part of the power unit cannot change.
Which is why Hamilton and Bottas have had new ones in the last 2 races, and of course Verstappen's had a complete change recently, and so's Perez, and other drivers with a Mercedes engine have been taking penalties as well.
Well, Vettel didn't he, this weekend?
Yeah,
so.
I mean, he had the lot, and they even stuck a new exhaust system in, because he's now, I think that was his 9th exhaust.
You don't get penalties for exhausts, though.
You do if you go over. Over 8.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
8 exhausts feels like a lot.
I mean, I suppose that's one of the easiest parts to break. If you go into the barrier backwards, if you get rear-ended.
If they get hot, because they will.
Yeah, if they get hot and get a bit of gravel in them. So I think that's why they're allowed 8. But yeah, Vettel was on his 9th. But I just get the feeling that yes, it might be a reliability thing, but is it? Oh, hang on, we've got a new development, and we'll just say that it's a little bit more reliable, and then we can find out which one of these is the best one to have as the 2022 plus engine.
Oh, I see. You're going down conspiracy alley.
Well, it's not full on tinfoil hattery, but it's just a little bit. I mean, Toto saying reliability with his usual sort of wink and a grin. It may be these new engines that put in are more reliable, or they can be reliably faster.
They've just pushed them harder, haven't they, this year? I think there's more to do with it.
Well, yeah, I mean, certainly in Mercedes' case, they've had to.
Yeah.
But it's not, it's not sit back, cruise around in fifth and still win anymore.
No.
That being said, have McLaren had any engine penalties?
I think Danny's had one.
Oh, he might have.
But other than that, sorry, I'm just eating a Jaffa cake. I'm not entirely sure.
No, I think I would, without looking it up, I would hazard a guess that of the Mercedes-powered teams, they've possibly had the least engine penalties at this point.
I wonder if they've got some kind of deal where it's just, if it works, we'll carry on using it and we'll have the new ones when the new ones are ready.
Possibly.
Zach Brown doesn't want experimenting on. And you wouldn't argue with him.
I don't know. It's a shit tattoo.
It is a shit tattoo, and he did whinge quite a lot.
Yeah.
I'm
One
not-
and done, he said, for tattoos. I mean, I might consider a cover-up if I was Zach Brown.
Yeah.
Now, I'm no tattoo expert, but surely if you're going to get some even vaguely detailed line work, you don't really want a film crew there distracting the guy who's doing it.
And also, what's happening in Monza on the 9th of December? Does anyone know?
No.
You're not having your
I was
birthday?
going to say, it's my birthday.
That's your birthday on the
Yes.
9th. He had your birthday tattooed with the Monza circuit on his
Yes,
arm.
they did do the American date, didn't they?
Which is wrong. I don't care what anyone says.
They are the only country in the world that uses that date format, aren't they?
Yes.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it makes doing spreadsheets a pain in the ass. I haven't mentioned spreadsheets in a long time. Mainly because I'm not doing Formula E at the minute. We have our own spreadsheet intern for that.
There is a well-known construction project on the Isle of Man which releases monthly reports on how shit is going, and they release their reports in the format date year, month, day.
Oh, Japanese format.
Very confusing.
Yeah. Yeah. You see, I got a truck with that, though, because it's the same... it's the same sort of denomination as the rest of the world. Biggest to smallest works the same as smallest to biggest. If somebody asks me the time, I don't say it's 23:20 when it's actually 23 minutes past 8.
Yeah. How much is that? Oh, 99p and £15.
Exactly. It's you do it in denomination order. That's how it works.
Well, next up in denomination order, see what I did there, is Aston Martin. Vettel getting another point in 10th, and Stroll, who was just not on it all weekend, in 12th.
No.
He was he just wasn't there or thereabouts in practice or qualifying, and never really got going in the race. All right, he had the turn one shenanigans, but didn't really feature. I've missed out Alfa Romeo, but we'll do them next. I mean, all right. Vettel came back from 17th with, like we said, a new complete full power unit plus exhaust setup.
Yes.
And it was getting a bit racy at some points. We saw him battling with Kimi and Alonso quite a bit, in a bit that somebody dubbed the Antiques Roadshow. May have been me. It was like the seniors section at the back.
It was a bit weird, wasn't it? Watching all these well-versed drivers, been around for many, many years, world champions fighting over positions outside of the points.
Yeah, there was 7 world championships, fighting for 12th.
That's how you win world championships, though, by scrapping it out.
By fighting for 12th.
By fighting for every position.
Yeah, I'm sure when any of those three won world championships, they were battling for things a little bit higher up and a bit more points paying.
So what, should everyone under, 11th just drive around and not overtake each other?
So we've got Stroll, Raikkonen, Giovinazzi. Well, that's what happened.
Hey, some of those people tried to overtake each other. Sometimes it didn't work. looking at Latifi.
I don't think that was 100% Latifi's fault. He got kind of caught between Schumacher and Stroll. And
Yeah, he said that, but I mean, it didn't look like a particularly bad sandwiching situation. It felt more like I have overcooked it. I've ran into the back of someone. Quick, give me an excuse.
To be fair, blame a Haas is a fairly no one's going to check you working on that one.
No.
It seems a
No,
reasonable
no.
chance that you've been shat on by a Haas.
And don't forget, he's Canadian, so he needed to do something to apologise for.
Yeah.
It was already at least 6 apologies in credit just for the start straight. But yeah, Aston Martin were a bit... I don't know.
Also there.
Yeah, bit sort of nondescript. We've got a lot of candidates for the Giovinazzi Participation Award. Not least the 2 Alfa Romeos in 13th for Raikkonen and 11th for the eponymous Giovinazzi. The only notable things that were happening with either Alfa Romeo was dicing with Alonso.
I definitely felt like Alonso and an Alfa Romeo were going to end up in a barrier at some point. Didn't know which one, but yeah. But in fairness to them, I felt like they were busy for their very nondescript result.
There was a lot going on. There was a lot coming off Kimi's car as well. When Crofty said there may have been contact there, as there's carbon fibre spraying all over the place. Was that... no, I was going to say the running with Kimi wouldn't have been where Alonso did his rear wing in.
I wouldn't have thought so.
No. It was Alonso took a bit of Kimi's flaw, as you say, but it was no. The rear wing was much later because he was dicing with Kimi, and then he was dicing with Giovinazzi, and then some laps after that, it was I broke my rear wing.
I mean, I know the circuit was bumpier than normal. You could definitely see that in the Ocon helmet cam.
Yeah, I think it might have just been a bit of aggressive curb riding on Alonso's part.
Those curbs are nasty there. Especially through the... do we call it Maggots and Beckett's or the Maggots and Beckett's Tribute Act?
It is a Maggots and Beckett's Tribute Act, isn't it, that bit?
Yeah.
It's, as it sort of tightens up and then gets even more twisty, just as, but the opposite to what Silverstone does.
Yeah, I mean, Tilker has said that this circuit is influenced by corners from every other circuit.
Yeah, the triple right-hander is borrowed from Turkey, which is weird because it wasn't that long ago we were driving, or rather they were driving in Turkey. Which is the other way around, isn't it? The stadium section from Germany is just before that.
Yeah, I'm assuming the straight from Monza.
Maybe, I don't know. No idea where he got that bit from. But yeah, it is a tribute act, and that's why it's the best Tilke circuit, because he's taken the good bits from other circuits.
Right, into the rest of the point scorers. AlphaTauri. Gasly, who DNF'd, and it looked at one point like there was a possible DNS on the cards.
Yeah, it was a strange one. That his suspension broke,
but it was a sensor that almost put him out of the race because it was a whole bodywork off job on the grid.
Yeah, because I thought when we saw him going slow, I thought, oh, his engine's finally, been destroyed or something. Whatever the problem was on the grid had reared its head again. But no, it was his suspension apparently. And I thought, well, if Gasly's is gone, other people's is going to go, and it didn't.
Just when you thought it was over, it was.
Well, no, just what I thought it was going to be over for a lot of other people, and Gasly was the only one who broke his suspension, as far as I'm aware.
Didn't actually say how he did it or what happened or who happened to him to cause it, but yeah, it was 1 minute he's there, the next minute he's crawling around. It's like, right, okay. Because I mean, I remember, Sean, you were sort of shouting at the screen, get off the track, because you thought it was the engine as well, and it was about to go foom.
I don't think it was just that. I think it was just he was pootling so much. It was like, he's not going to get this back. It's just going to stop in the middle of the track.
Unnecessary car, unnecessary safety car or VSC because Gasly couldn't be bothered to park it.
That was sort of what I was seeing. I was like, just walk around the perimeter and get back that way. Just get off the line.
Surprisingly, we only had the one virtual safety car all race, and that was only for about 2 minutes at the most.
I don't think it was even 2 minutes.
Not even
I think
that
it was about
long.
30 seconds.
It was like 30 seconds. Yeah, 30 seconds.
Bit of debris.
I thought it was hilarious how Crofty was still talking about the impact that this virtual safety car might have when the green flags were out.
And it's done.
I mean, I know there's a lot of people that aren't Crofty fans. Bruno, get off. He's eating a...
Oh, what are you doing, you twat?
He's eating a magazine.
What's your magazine?
I know it's my magazine. It's my copy of Retro Gamer.
Bruno.
Have you got anything to throw at him?
Old games taste good.
Launch a Jaffa Cake box at him.
Oh, now he's going to pick a fight with the Jaffa Cake box. This is a fun interlude, isn't it?
Oh, shit, it's not a magazine. It's my bloody work contract.
Maybe don't store that on the floor.
It wasn't on the floor. It was on the table, and I think he's knocked it off.
Can't store things on the table.
Good.
All right, how you doing, Lee? You
What's
okay?
happening?
Yeah, no, I'm not entirely sure. I'm glad you can hear me because, I don't really know where to go from here. To be perfectly honest.
It feels like we're just sat in the living room.
It feels like I'm just sat in my living room.
I feel like I'm sat in the garden outside looking into the living room.
Sorry, yes, there was a cat eating a very valuable envelope full of papers.
I stand by possibly don't store it on the floor.
It wasn't on the floor, it was on the table.
Can't store things on the table.
Anyway, Lee.
back to the other half of the AlphaTauri garage. The person who, after the race, I most wanted to see on the podium in 9th. Because wouldn't it have been...
the height difference.
Yeah, wouldn't it have been hilarious to see Tsunoda on the podium with Shaq?
Yes.
You'd have just picked him up, wouldn't he? He'd have picked him up and put him on the shelf with the rest of his Funko Pops.
Has anybody seen the? Has anyone seen the tweet that I sent through on our chat thread?
I have.
Has Paul seen it and Lee seen it?
He's on his way.
I am just looking at the tweet now, and
Oh, is this the
giant shack?
Yeah, it's good.
It is good. It is good. Giant shack.
Imagine how much microphone stuff he would need to sound that giant.
He just needs to come and sit with me.
I've been to your house. I think the ceilings are a bit too low.
This is true, actually. Yeah.
Then again, every house the ceilings are a bit too low. Shaq had to duck to get into the.
I was worried for him. I didn't think he'd seen how low that roof was. He seemed to be sort of looking off to the side. I thought he was just going to wipe out in front of everyone.
No, it was a very last minute ducking. But yeah, Tsunoda on the podium with him would look like that tweet that's doing the rounds of the giant Shaq and the midget drivers. Even F1 are asking who did it.
And the guy who did it has replied.
About 20 other people probably will as well, claiming it was them. Decent enough race for Tsunoda. Kind of stayed out of trouble because he didn't really feature all that much on TV.
Yeah, gave Bottas a bit of headache in the early stages.
Yeah, Bottas was struggling to get past him.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Tsunoda was okay. He did well.
Mm-hmm.
He's definitely coming to grips a lot more with the car.
Is it his new driver coach, do we think?
It could be the new driver coach, yes, getting their money's worth before they farm him out.
Oh, who is his new driver coach?
Albon.
Oh, right, okay. Did not know that. Managed to miss that.
There you go.
Managed to miss that story entirely. So,
Yes, they've given him an Albon, and he's now got a full simulator in his flat so he can practice between races.
are they still making him live in Italy?
Think
Yes.
so.
Close to French
I
toast.
believe so.
Yes. Have you not noticed that in any press that he does, whether it's after the race or in the presser, pre-race weekend, he's now gesturing an awful lot.
Amazing.
He has learnt the Italian way.
I get the feeling he's quite good at languages because his English was all to say that he'd only left Japan a couple of years before getting into F1. His English was already very good, so I imagine he is quite good at the picking up the words and the stylings.
He's already got the sign language.
Yep.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, he absolutely has.
Where are we next? McLaren. Danny in 5th, Lando in 8th. Decent battles with Ferrari.
Yeah, they were behind Ferrari. Let's not sugarcoat it. Ferrari have got their, they're getting it right towards the end of this year. And also, there is a little bit of news actually. I just thought regarding Ferrari, in that they are the first team to have said that they finished their 2022 car and intend to assemble a model in November for testing.
Intend to assemble sounds very non-committal, as if, well, we might do it, we might not.
It sounds like a vague sequel to Avengers.
Yeah, well, they've finished the design. They're quite happy with how they think it's going to work. They'll assemble a wind tunnel model, see what happens, and then, maybe not do anything over the winter.
That would be good. Ferrari.
Maybe it's good, maybe it's not. We'll find out.
It's the best car anyone has built so far. How could anyone possibly improve on this? So let's take the winter off.
Yeah. How can we make this year's livery worse? I still think this year's Ferrari looks like a wet sock.
It's a packet of Kraft cheesy pasta. That's got the same gradient of red on it.
From dark red to
visible red.
Stupidly bright orange.
No, that's the food contents.
Oh, okay.
Because cheesy pasta, or Kraft dinner, as it's known as everywhere else, is the most orange thing that has never been in Girls Aloud.
Hey, that's a bit... Careful now.
I'm just saying Cheryl Cole was particularly orange.
Oh, Cheryl Cole's going to say, yeah, I mean, one of them,
One of them did pass away recently, but
yeah.
but Cheryl,
this is descended.
But Cheryl Cole has always been orange.
Maybe.
to my knowledge, not that I follow this kind of thing, still probably is. Why am I talking?
From a bum. A bum's a big rose.
Yeah, the bum is a big rose.
Remind me never listen to Seal. Never listen to Seal again. Anyway, other orange things. Yeah, there was. Might as well do Ferrari at the same time because they were pretty much 2x2 all race, with a Ferrari coming in front of a McLaren.
Yeah, each Ferrari finishing in front of each McLaren.
It was looking dicey at the start because I think that, everyone was just going for it over the first lap.
Great move by Lando. Shame he backed out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did actually think he was going to gain 3 places in one move and then
or
didn't.
3 DNFs in one move.
Yeah.
Yeah. It did look like he was going to go Sainz, Ricciardo, and possibly Leclerc as well.
It was a bit of a shame, wasn't it, for Lando? He just didn't seem to have the pace this weekend.
No, he didn't. I don't know if that was a individual thing, but I mean, Danny was the faster of the 2 McLarens. Mm-hmm. And the championship battle between the 2 Ferrari drivers is getting ridiculously spicy now, isn't it? They were half a point separating them before the race. And now let's have a quick look. I think they're still right next to each other.
Leclerc will be just ahead, won't he?
Yeah, Leclerc is 5.5 points ahead of Sainz in the standings. So yeah, it's getting pretty tight between those 2 as well.
Yeah, how long before the team pull team orders?
I don't think they will.
I was going to say, which way do you do it? Leclerc has a bad race next race, and it's Sainz ahead again. You don't know who's going to favour Saudi or Qatar yet.
Yeah, I suppose there's 2 unknown quantities. Well, one definitely unknown quantity, and one have they finished building it yet?
I think Ferrari, even they've worked out that there's no point in having team orders in a team unless there's a championship on the line. You know,
Yeah.
it hasn't worked for them
Yeah.
since Michael Schumacher.
Yeah, it
Really.
doesn't. You don't want to go pissing off. You know, if say they pick Leclerc this year and then the new regs happen to massively suit Sainz, you don't want to go disenfranchising him right before his era.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Simulations look good, don't they, as well, for 2022 cars? Allegedly, they're not that much slower than
Oh, okay.
than this year's cars, but a lot less grip.
This sounds fun.
Yeah.
I've got like I'm quietly confident that the people that put these rules together are going to give us something pretty special next year.
I hope so.
Just look what they've done this year. Like I know I've said it a couple of times already on the podcast, over the last few months. But when you think that they've just done minor tweaks to current cars to try and make it more competitive, and they've immediately bunched the front of the field up, to the point where Mercedes and Red Bull are the same, and McLaren were able to win a race on pace. And this is all down to the rule tweaking that they did just before the beginning of this year.
Yeah, just trimming a bit of downforce, almost getting them ready, I suppose, for 2022.
Yeah, 2022 light.
So 2021, actually bits of it happened in 2021 in the end, and we can put that one to bed now.
Yeah, we've had a good Formula One season.
Regardless of how it plays out, it's been a fantastic season.
Yeah.
Well, right, imagine that, because I was pretty disenfranchised going into this year, because I know we spoke about it last year where we were saying, oh, fuck, it's realistically, it's carryover cars. We're going to get more of the same next year. Can you imagine one of us had turned around last year and said, no, I think not only will it be quite competitive, I think we might get one of the best seasons in Formula One history. Can you imagine how stupid that would have sounded? Which is more surprising that one of us didn't say it.
What do you mean? We're dead sensible and on point and accurate all the time.
#pros.
Well, no, we are, because I go back and retrospectively edit all the shows and remove all the daft stuff.
Oh, good. Okay.
So that's why we usually put out a 30-second podcast.
Yeah, anyone listening to anything from sort of 2019 and earlier, you will notice a lot of the predictions have just been cut out completely and replaced with jump cuts and voiceovers.
We've got what is it called? Ministry of Truth on our podcast.
Congratulations to our new overlords, Cthulhu.
Ministry of Truth on Mandela Effect. You decide.
Ministry of Mandela Effect is a government department that needs to happen.
It's also my new experimental metal band.
Please tell me you're a South African-based ministry tribute band.
I'll work with a few South Africans. I'll get them to check and see if there are any called that. Right, we'll do Bottas and then we'll do the top three, because I think Bottas was kind of...
Bottas did not belong in the top
We'll be
teams.
generous and say he was in a class of his own. Unfortunately, it's the one that you get sent to when you won't stop messing about in the normal class or you're not learning at the right speed.
The one where you get stuck behind Tsunoda and then, in trying to overtake him, accidentally get overtaken by his teammate.
Yes.
Yeah.
Was he worse? Was he worse than Perez?
It wasn't better.
No, exactly. We sort of see.
Yeah, to do the top three and then to do the top three, and leaving Bottas aside from that. I mean, his engine penalty is the only reason he started as far down as he did. He probably would have been in and around Perez without the engine penalty.
Yeah.
The top two opened such a massive gap when they're in that final push that Perez finished 40-something seconds behind them.
Wow.
Perez was, by all accounts, on the verge of blacking out because he didn't have any water all race.
Yeah, well, and he did keep going past the sign that said, "When you drive, never drink."
No, I saw that.
That was a little unfortunate.
F1 Oracle Jolyon Palmer called bullshit on that. He said, "Look, he's
Oh.
not going to feel too well, but people's bottles have failed in Malaysia, and sometimes those people finished on podiums." He said, "I feel he might just be pulling one out of the bag there because
Fair dues.
he did a good qualifying performance and not particularly good race performance."
There was one time a couple of years ago, I think it was when Raikkonen was still with Ferrari, and he complained that his bottle hadn't worked, and he was, "Oh, aren't I heroic?" Or probably something less wordy than that, given that it was Raikkonen. And then Marcus Ericsson, I think, turned around and said, "Well, yeah, at Sauber, we've not had the weight for a drinks bottle for 2 years."
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I remember that
Yeah.
now. Yeah.
Has anyone noticed in the the pre-race We Races One message?
Yeah.
Has anybody noticed Kimi's contribution to the We Races One message?
Does he just stand there and look bored?
Kimi's contribution to the We Races One message is looking down at his race suit.
Okay.
He doesn't actually say anything. Let's see if I can find it.
I've never noticed that before.
No.
See if I can find it, and then I'll put it on our chat thread, and then everybody else who's listening can watch it as well. I'm sure it's on there. There it is. It's the first thing. If you search "We Races One" on YouTube, it's the first thing that comes up.
No, somebody mentioned that on our Discord chat at the weekend as well, and it's a very Kimi thing to do.
Yeah,
I mean,
so
not talking is the most Kimi thing to do.
Yeah. So Hamilton says, it's time for representation, etc. And everybody's in there. There's Ocon and there's Charles Leclerc and Mick Schumacher all talking. Even Nikita Mazepin and Perez, George
You know
Russell,
what? He absolutely hasn't done it, has he? He's
Sebastian Vettel.
no,
And
no,
then,
no.
he's
Yeah,
just staring. He just stares at his race suit.
They've took some B-roll from what they've used to make the beginning, the beginning montage of the drivers for the dun, dun,
Yeah,
dun,
where they
dun,
just have
dun,
sort
dun,
of
dun.
the standard drivers stand there and look moody type things.
Mm.
Yeah. So they probably took some B-roll of that and just put Kimi into it.
Yeah, it's Pierre Gasly talking when Kimi Raikkonen is looking down at his race suit.
It is, isn't it? I'm just looking at it now.
Are you watching it now?
I am.
Yeah. It's like, Kimi, can you do something for the We Races One? Nah.
I don't even know that he's looking at his race suit. I think he's just sort of spotted something of interest on the floor.
But that's his contribution to the We Races One.
He races
We
as
all-
Kimi.
Yeah, We Races One. Unless you're Kimi Raikkonen, in which case I do what I want.
It's good. The race is won. Good for you. Good for you.
Yeah, I'm out in 5 races. I don't care.
Back to Bottas though. I mean, 4th fastest time in qualifying, but obviously taking the engine penalty. Starting 9th and got some overtakes in, but got held up and just didn't really do a great deal.
No, I mean he had his pace was okay, but again, it's that Mercedes following thing, isn't it? With you put a car. It doesn't matter if it's Bottas or if it's Hamilton. Hamilton tends to be a bit better at cutting through the field, but then I'd say it's probably fair to say that Hamilton's a bit better than Valtteri Bottas at driving.
Yeah, I mean Bottas was 1 minute 20 off the leaders.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a fair chunk, isn't it?
The one thing I would say is it's probably the first time I've ever said anything in Bottas's favour.
Christ.
If you take Max and Lewis out of it, I think Bottas is better at getting past people. There's like fair enough. The challenge fucking faded in in Monza, but when he closed up on people, when he was trying to work his way through the field, where it looked like he could have won the race, he did seem to be able to follow people and get past. Whereas we do see Lewis get to this 1 second gap especially for the lead. It's okay when he's going past like slower cars, but when he hits a Red Bull and he gets that 1 second gap, he does seem to struggle more, I think, of breaking into the DRS than Bottas has done in the past in the same situation.
Now I think this is where it comes down to car setup, because I think Lewis has his car set up in a way that dirty air affects him more. Because
could also be the fact he's just more on the limit, because his driving style is more on the limit. That means he's essentially using more of the car. So then, like you say, as far as a bit of downforce disappears, if you're using more of the car and you lose a bit of downforce, there's going to be more of a problem.
Yeah, because I mean the dirty air from, I think the effects this weekend in dirty air was something like about from about 2.5 seconds behind.
It seemed a lot of people seemed to struggle, didn't they? Not just the Mercedes.
Yeah, I think that was down to the wind as well. It was they were on the start-finish straight. They were racing right into a headwind, so that's going to mess up the airflow even more when the wind's going that fast. I think it's about 14 mile an hour in places. And when you get cars that are aerodynamically sensitive as these are, that's going to have a hell of a lot of difference. And it could be something in the Red Bull as well, because you say when Lewis gets up behind the faster cars and can't seem to get in, is there something in the Red Bull that makes the outwash even dirtier, and then the wind doesn't help as well. And I think that could be what caused it this weekend, because he was getting to within a second on the verge of DRS, and there was nothing more. And I think it's a combination of a lot of things: the wind, Lewis's setup, and whatever tricks Adrian knew he's got up his sleeve to make the invisible smoke screen come out the back of the Red Bull. Purely my thoughts. Sorry, I thought I was making sense for a second. I'll say something. I'll say something completely off the mark next. Don't worry.
So what you're saying is that Lewis Hamilton is overrated.
There we go. And let the Max fanboy tweets come in now. Actually, rather than doing the top three all at once, I think Perez was a little bit separate to the top two as well, because
he was quite a bit separate, because I think Martin Brundle actually said something along the lines in the commentary was that the top two just kicked into a different gear. And, they were Red Bull were asking Perez just try and stay within a pit stop window of Hamilton, and he just couldn't. I don't know. Verstappen and Hamilton are in a class of their own. They really are, especially in this season, this era, if you will, of Formula One, when their cars are so well balanced. They really know what to do to leave everybody miles and miles behind, and that's exactly what they did.
Yeah, I mean, Perez being 42 seconds off the winning time.
Yeah. We were giving Albon shit for when he was 42 seconds behind Max.
Yeah.
Not saying we should start giving Perez shit. I'm just saying the gap was massive.
Right. Well, that's what I was saying with Bottas. Was Bottas's race much worse than Perez's? Because Perez just seemed to be on it as far as practice and qualifying went, and then realistically nowhere in the race. Because if there was other teams closer to Red Bull and Mercedes, he'd have been in trouble. If it would have been one of those races where McLaren or Ferrari were a bit close to the front of the field, he'd have been back with the McLarens and Ferraris, and not up there with the Mercedes and the Red Bull.
Yeah, I'm just looking to see if there's any anything sort of out there. I mean, it's claiming he was in survival mode. He was struggling with illness as well, apparently.
Oh.
I don't know what the illness was. He'd been battling illness all day.
Sounds like the shits.
Yeah, I was going to say it sounds like a case of the shits.
Too many tacos.
And he's got 2 weeks before the Mexican Grand Prix as well. So he's done the tax. He can go back and do the Mex in a fortnight. Yeah, I mean he did sort of drop off. He was there or thereabouts early on, but putting him on used mediums was a was an odd one.
They'd only had one lap on them in FP1, I think.
Yeah, that rings a bell. I think he'd had some kind of slightly different strategy in terms. I think he had another pair of softs left compared to Verstappen, and there was some issue along those lines.
Yeah. So although they came up as used tires, but in olden times we'd have just called them scrubs, wouldn't we?
Token effort of
usedness. Yeah, I guess. But of course, he started on the hards, didn't he? Because that's what he did Q2 in.
Who?
I can't
Perez.
remember.
No, the only two drivers who started on hard tyres. No one started on hard tyres.
Oh, right.
No, the only Sonoda and Sainz started on the softs. Everybody else started on mediums.
Okay, an even stranger plan. Started on medium,
hard, medium, wasn't it? Or medium, hard.
Medium, hard. Everybody else went medium, hard.
Yeah. They've got to try something different. It might have worked brilliantly. Could have brought Perez right up to, up with Max, and then they really would have had a two-pronged attack on Lewis.
Yeah,
very difficult for Hamilton to fight anywhere near Verstappen.
Yeah, I mean, it
worked,
looked like they were splitting the strategy. So yeah, that does make sense in the end. I didn't actually see what he started on. I only remember to put the live timing screen up about sort of 10 laps in before around about the time when people were starting to make stops. I was tired Sunday evening. It was too late for me. I needed cocoa and to go to bed.
Yeah, it was weird I actually had a cocoa right towards the end of the race. It was weird having Formula One in the evening. I was just like, okay, like literally waiting all day for Formula One to start.
It was late, wasn't it? Even for
qualifying was late, even in Austin. Apparently, it was like 4 p.m., which is left a lot of people in Texas being like, well, what are we doing all day waiting for quality to start at 4?
Yeah, there was mainly because there was a general lack of support series as well. There was just W Series and Formula 4. From the looks of things, there was actually more Mexican wrestling on in the hospitality areas than there was racing over the weekend. So I was having a look at the schedule and what else was on. There was a lot going on with Neil Diamond and Elvis tributes.
When you say entertainment, you're being a bit fast and loose with the definition of the word entertainment there.
Yeah, and the musical acts this week, 21 Pilots, didn't know they were still going.
Yeah.
Fucking, I'd go and watch 21 Pilots.
Didn't know they were still going.
Billy Joel.
Okay.
And Cool and possibly some of the original gang, but probably not all of the gang.
Cool and a gang.
Yeah, Cool and a gang member.
Anyone listening to this podcast that wants to listen to funny music, I suggest you go and look on YouTube and look for a band called Cunt and the Gang.
Oh,
spelt with a K.
Amazing.
How do you spell gang with a K? Then again, I've seen some of your tweets.
The cunt bit is spelt with a K. You cunt with a C.
Like the cool is spelled with a K. Yeah.
Yeah. I
am the wrong Ian Watkins, mate.
Yeah. Yes, I am aware of their work.
Oh, so funny.
Not mentioning some of the songs on it. This is occasionally a family podcast. Right, the top
We've
two.
We've just said cunt and the gang. I think we're probably past the family podcast.
I've never heard Jacques Villeneuve so much. In one short segment.
Oh, you said it, baby. I'm going to have to get the fucking jack out for that, aren't I?
No, because then they won't hear the band.
Lee has taken the time to make a recommendation.
Yeah.
They nearly made Christmas #1. In fact, I think they were like number 9 or something.
Was this like a protest one against one of the X Factor types?
No,
something?
It was protest against Boris Johnson.
Oh, fair dues. Yeah.
But anyway, we've divulged somewhat.
And
diverged.
We certainly haven't evolved.
No. I'm choosing the wrong words.
I can't even say evolved.
Run away.
Right, the top two. Those two were definitely in a class of their own, completely.
Yeah, they were. I thought as soon as it went less than 20 laps to go, and I was just like, Hamilton's left it too late. Like, there's no way.
Yeah, Mercedes have now come out and said maybe we should have pitted Lewis on lap 8.
8?
Yeah.
No.
What would that have undercut Verstappen?
Yeah, because Verstappen came in on 10.
I see.
So
Yeah, but I mean, hindsight's a wonderful thing, but it doesn't necessarily always work out that way, does it? I mean, when they said that they could do, I think it was like 40 laps, I did some quick maths and thought, well, Lewis could probably hang this out till the end of the race, but I mean, he might lose his tyres. As soon as he came in for the pits, I was like, no, they've left it too late. He needs 20-ish laps. You've given him no margin for error at all whatsoever, and of course they had traffic to get through, which was a little bit of a time. That gave the breathing space to Verstappen for another lap, and as soon as that happened, it was just like, well, that's it. As far as I'm concerned, I don't think Lewis is going to make it.
And then, of course, the only danger to Verstappen towards the end was Mick.
Sonoda
Mick
could
Schumacher,
have been quicker
yeah.
getting out the way.
Yeah, he did. He did drag his heels a little bit because I think Max was behind him for over a lap.
Well, the thing is, back markers get the blue flags, and they can only pass 3 blue flags without letting the leader past
Yes.
before they receive a penalty themselves for not letting the leaders through. So, is that on the race control? Because if the blue flags weren't coming up soon enough, then obviously... Yeah, you'd expect the teams to be on the blower as well, wouldn't you? You know, oh, Mick, you've got a very quick Max Verstappen coming up behind you. You know, just be aware and stay out of his way.
Well, to be honest, if they're sending a radio message to Mick, it just needs to be, Mick, you've got a very quick... Actually, it doesn't matter, they're all quicker than us.
Yeah, Mickey got a car behind you.
And it's not Mazepin.
Well, no, if it was Mazepin, it'd be in the side of him.
In fairness to Mazepin, he's crashed a bit on his own and he's done a lot of his own spinning. I don't think he's taken many people out.
Oh, no, but I mean, there was... he does keep having the occasional dice with Mick, doesn't he? And
That is true.
They do get up close and personal, like Baku.
Yeah.
And Sebastian Vettel did get a bit sweary at Mazepin in qualifying.
Also true.
I'm not saying he's a liability, mainly because his dad's rich and Russian and I want to live. But, yeah, Mercedes hindsight. Sorry, Verstappen pitted on lap 11. But, yeah, Andrew Chauvelin came out today with, maybe we should have gone in on lap 8 and undercut them instead of letting them undercut us. Well,
maybe, but, you know...
As the saying goes, if me aunt had bollocks, she'd be me uncle.
What was the Gina de Campo one? If my grandmother had wheels, she would have been a bike.
Yes.
But yeah, Mercedes got outpaced and out-strategized.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, out-strategized and outpaced. And I said a few podcasts ago now that this championship will be decided not probably on like one big mistake or one, amazing race or, one strategy. It's going to be decided on who makes the fewest little mistakes. Mercedes are making a lot of little mistakes. And as I said earlier on, like the beginning of the podcast, I think Mercedes have now made one too many small mistakes. That it's not working out for Hamilton and Verstappen. For Hamilton and Mercedes. It is working out for Verstappen and Red Bull. Austin was supposed to be a Mercedes hallowed ground. And I know everybody keeps saying, well, Abu Dhabi, is one of the races that's definitely going to be Mercedes territory. Verstappen won that race last year.
Yeah.
And he's stronger this year. There's no way, I can't see, if everything goes normally and, we don't get any comings together or anything like that, if the races run their course like they did yesterday, I can't see Lewis Hamilton and Mercedes turning this around. I can only see Verstappen extending his gap to the point where he becomes champion at the end of the year. I hope I hope for Mercedes' sake that somebody is saying this within Mercedes, because I get the feeling nobody is. They just think that they're Mercedes and they will eventually be champions because Mercedes.
Because Mercedes, yeah. I don't think that's I don't think it's a ridiculous thing to say. For me, the biggest thing about this whole weekend was, in my memory, and I can't think of a weekend going like this in the past since Lewis has been like the complete driver that he is now. He was done in qualifying in Lewis Hamilton fashion. It's Lewis's job to find 2/10 on somebody and snatch pole away from them.
Yeah.
He was in the race. The guy behind him could just sit behind him, knowing in free air, I'll just undercut you because I've got more pace than you. That's a Lewis Hamilton trick. That's as soon as it comes to the pit stop time, it's hammer time, isn't it? And then he went to race somebody on fresher tires to catch up with them and get past them, and that Lewis Hamilton trick didn't work. And this is the first time I think I've seen all of the tools that you would associate with Lewis Hamilton as a race winner and championship contender just be completely nullified by another driver
who actually used those tools against him.
Yeah.
It would have made more sense for me, though, that, for and again, I'm not an expert on this by any stretch of the imagination. It would have made more sense to me that if they were going to pit Lewis at that point, to either put him on, and I know we didn't have any fresh sets left, but a scrub set of mediums or even softs, to give him that real punchy pace. I don't know if softs would have lasted long enough, but mediums. No, but even scrubbed mediums, would have been better than brand new hard tires. I think they left it too late, and I said straight away they've not given him enough time. To me, it's just, again, it's another strategy mistake by Mercedes. It's too conservative. They're not being aggressive enough. Red Bull are being aggressive, and that's why Red Bull are going to walk away with the Drivers' Championship. They don't give a shit about the Constructors' Championship. Mercedes will probably win the Constructors' Championship.
Mm-hmm.
But everyone's going to look at the Drivers' Championship, especially this year, and it's going to be...
It's all anyone
in my eye,
anyway.
Yeah. In my eyes, it's going to be Max Verstappen.
Yeah, nobody knows who won the Constructors' Championship when Alonso won his first World Championship.
Was it Ferrari?
No fucking idea.
I thought you were going to sort of drop some huge revelation on us.
No idea. That's
the point.
Realistically, as a Formula One fans, it's. I'm sure there's.
I'd be very surprised if
outliers.
it wasn't Ferrari.
It probably was Ferrari because he was fighting with them, wasn't he? I don't see. Would Trulli have been his teammate?
Oh shit! No,
Yeah,
it was
I think
Renault.
so.
It was Renault.
Was it Renault? Trulli put
Fuck
that
who
in the
the
back
fuck
for
me.
them. Jesus Christ!
Don't forget, Trulli kept getting the occasional win during his career that you always forgot about.
Yes, that's true.
He's got to be the most Ken of Grand Prix winners.
I love the fact that he was just dead good at keeping people behind him, and now and again he was lucky enough to be at the front of that train.
Right then, rock stars and wankers. I've had a few suggestions, Max.
Race director, wanker,
TV director or Michael Massey.
TV director.
All the directors.
Yeah.
Ben Stiller, just because it's Ben Stiller. Do you know what I thought was fucking hilarious over the last
Ben
few...
Stiller for not being Adam Sandler.
Yes.
Yeah.
But what I thought was fucking hilarious was you had loads of pictures of him on the grid, like popping up on social media with different people. And he had like massive big black aviator sunglasses on, a huge black mask. And you go, well, what's the fucking point? All you've done is show me a picture of Total Wolf and a fucking forehead.
Yeah, don't forget the ears. Do not forget the ears. You can
No,
you can tell Ben Stiller by the
they
ears.
they were tucked in behind the mask.
I don't know. Renee Zellweger, when they put up a bit of her in her massive face mask.
I'm
it's
sure
like,
she had-
is it
she had
Renee Zellweger?
2 masks stitched together.
Well,
Rock,
at least she was fuckable. What?
Rockstar Martin Brundle.
Yes.
Wanker
Yes.
Draco Malfoy.
Who was the lady rapper? She can go
Megan
in
Thee
the wanker
Stallion.
category as well. Never fucking heard of her.
She was there with Red Bull on behalf of Cash App.
Yes.
But she was quite
amazing.
willing to speak.
She seemed happy enough. They clearly, both of them had no idea who the other one was, but they were prepared to have a conversation.
Didn't he call her Meghan, not Markle, at first?
I think he said Meg at one point. I think he just shouted Meg at her. And then, yeah, obviously someone came in his ear and was like, oh, you're a freelance freestyle rapper or something.
Freelance rapper.
I don't think he said freelance. I think that was me
So
getting
you said
overexcited. Freestyle. And yeah, he was like, yeah, do a freelance rap about F1. It's like, mate, she raps about pussy. That's not what she does. She doesn't do F1.
Oh, she's not WAP woman,
She's
is she?
the featured artiste on WAP. Cardi B is the main artiste.
All right, okay.
Yeah, I think I've heard that track once.
Uh-huh.
That's one of the grimmest things to ever come out of like humankind, and I'm including all historical atrocities.
Any other rock stars and wankers?
Don't know.
Not sure.
Yeah, I think driver-wise,
Oh, Rockstar, Shaq.
yeah, for just being massive.
And the in-between award for that mobile ranch he turned up to the podium in.
No. Shaq has to be a rock star for standing in between Hamilton and Verstappen as well.
I thought that was a good idea.
It's not every day you get to come in 1.5th place in a Grand Prix.
It was the most American thing ever, though, wasn't it? Let's be honest. At the end, it was great, but it was also, yeah, I did, but it was, yeah, it's always one of my favorite races, the US Grand Prix, and it was a really good race. Wasn't quite as exciting as I was expecting it to be, but it was, you know, it's still the dream race for me to go to. I think the Circuit of the Americas.
I think if Spa didn't exist, it would be my favourite race on the calendar.
Didn't exist this year.
Yeah, but it's still nice to go there. Anyway, like just watching the rain there was nice. But I did.
I think there's a few thousand people that didn't think that this year.
They're probably still trying to dig their cars out of the mud.
George Russell would not agree with them.
No, I think he enjoyed Spa this year.
Probably more than most. Just have to say, from other things that happened this weekend, congratulations to Jamie Chadwick winning her second W Series, and also to friends of the podcast Alice Powell and Abby Pulling for fantastic performances.
Commiserations to Alice for obviously not winning, but I mean, you know, proof once again, as I tweeted, that the Being on Three Legs, Four Wheels podcast is fantastic for your career.
It is. It's factually indisputable.
Yeah, I mean,
fact.
they both got podiums.
Yep.
Yeah, Abby Pulling got pole in race 1.
Yep.
And apparently she's now guaranteed a full-time driving W Series next year for finishing 7th.
Yes, everyone
which is
who finishes
amazing,
top
seeing
8.
as because her funding for British F4 was pulled, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So you know, she obviously managed to finding that seat in W Series. It's great that Abby's going to have a seat. I think she's one of the youngest drivers as well, isn't she? In W Series.
Yeah, she'll be one of the younger one. I think Ira Sidakova, who was the one who had a visa issue this weekend. She's 17. I think she's the youngest, but yeah, Abby being 18 will be just slightly older.
Yeah. So it's fantastic, and yeah, best of luck to Abby and of course Alice as well. And as we already said, congratulations to Jamie Chadwick for winning the second series of women's series.
Yeah, hopefully we'll be able to get them back on the podcast at some point. I have dropped a message to Alice saying give us a shout. So hopefully she'll reply, or she'll be listening and then gives us a shout after this. Right, next race is 2 weeks' time in Mexico. We'll do a preview of that one next week. Sadly, it's not going to be around the Day of the Dead, which usually causes fun. But I think we'll still see quite a lot of zombies and skulls.
They'll do it anyway, won't they? Let's be
It
honest.
is, isn't it?
Isn't Day of the Dead sort of November 1st?
Isn't it the 5th of November, Day of the Dead?
That's bonfire night.
Or maybe.
I thought
I
Day
can't
of the Dead
remember.
was always around the US Grand Prix, the Mexican Grand Prix, because remember Red Bull? Like
Yeah, it's usually
they all came in skull stuff.
Yeah,
It begins
it's a
on
week.
Sunday
It's a
the
week
31st.
later this year, but
Yeah, it's first and 2nd of November.
Yeah, begins on Sunday the 31st and ends on Tuesday the 2nd. So, yeah, I thought it was later than that.
No, because it's whatever Halloween is the eve of.
yeah.
All Hallows Eve.
So it starts on All Hallows Day.
Yes.
But yeah, I'm sure there will be various skull-based shenanigans going on in Mexico a week on Sunday. Not a great deal of news to go through this week because I mean there's not all that much development coming out from the teams now, and so we're into the flyaway section of the season, and I think cars have now stopped being worked on, and there's just engines really. Do we have a shunt?
We do.
Yay.
That is
This
cool.
one, because of like us not making shows and stuff because of things going on, this one was supposed to be done, I think,
It's the
ages
one you
ago.
promised us. Or did I miss that one?
10th of September was this one was supposed to be.
Well, I ended up
Yeah,
doing the
cool.
shunt last week because Lee couldn't find one, and I'd got a spare. So
Yeah. Well, good. We're good.
Yeah.
This one was sent in by Samantha Stewart.
first time,
Hello, Samantha.
first time shunter, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is it Stewart as in Jackie Stewart?
No. Stewart.
Which is
So,
how,
yes.
That's the
Oh,
Stuart,
is that
Stuart
Stuart?
spelling of Stuart.
that's how
Oh,
that's how the shortbread tin spells his surname.
I thought he was a U-man. Okie dokie. I was born
Yay!
in 1944.
Are you Jackie Stewart?
Would you like that as your first guess?
No,
No.
Don't want to peek too soon.
I made my Formula 3 debut driving a car built by my father.
right. So somebody who is or would be 77.
So Formula
Yeah.
Yeah, Formula 3 back then, you probably were entering it in like your early 20s. So mid 60s, Formula 3 driver possibly. Late 60s, early 70s F1 driver if they made it that far.
There is a statue of me in my hometown.
Right. Statue implies champion or dead.
Yes.
Let's be honest.
Or politician.
Or politician.
Or Desperate Dan. There's one of him in Dundee.
Ah.
Dundee?
Yeah.
All right, okay.
Yeah, it's where the Beano was from.
Oh, I had no idea. Every day's a school day.
Was it?
Continually.
Oh no, he was.
Do we not
I'd
need to
like
do
to
it? We need
guess.
to do a guess here, don't we?
Oh, do we? Carlos Reutemann.
a dead political champion.
No, there you go. Why not?
You happy to go with Carlos Reutemann?
Yeah.
Sounds good.
I had my first race at Monza, but I didn't finish one lap.
First ever race, just first non-specific, non-specified category.
I'm guessing Formula 3.
Interesting.
Number 5. A low point of my career is when I was racing on 6 wheels.
Oh.
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 Somebody who raced in the
Somebody was
Tyrrell.
in the Tyrrell.
Now, what was it? What's its model number again? Paul, you know this one.
No, I don't. I always get it wrong. I'm just gonna throw Ronnie Peterson into the mix because he raced a six-wheel Tyrrell and died.
In the six-wheel Tyrrell?
No, he wasn't in the
I was
six-wheel.
going to say, that's a pretty low point.
Well, he won in the six-wheel Tyrrell.
Yeah, but he's at a low point of his career. Was why he was racing in with six wheels. Winning is not a low point, unless he had an amazing career, of course.
Memoirs from Beyond the Grave. My death was not the highlight of my life.
You sound like Richmond from the IT crowd. He's going to be making us listen to Cradle of Filth next.
In fact, Lee is just a slightly less goth version of Richmond, isn't
he? Yeah, right. During the height of my Formula One career, I had the reputation of being the fastest driver in terms of raw speed.
Okay.
It's another way of saying someone's not completely successful.
Yeah, because we always
7.
said that about Maldonado, didn't we?
Yeah.
What year was that six-wheel Tyrrell? Was that late 70s?
Yeah, it was about.
I feel like it was.
Yeah, about sort of 77, 78, maybe even 79. There was a six-wheeled Williams that got black flagged as soon as it came on track because that had four rear wheels. So everyone complained that, hang on a minute, they've got more drive than all the other cars.
Yeah.
But I can't remember who drove that. And that might have been a pretty low point in someone's career if they went out for FP1 and got promptly disqualified.
Yeah, that'd do it.
I'm going to dump one of these questions.
Oh.
Because if I tell you one of these questions, I might as well tell you his name.
Do you need a guess now?
Yes.
Oh.
Should we go Ronnie Peterson for now? Because he's the only one I can conclusively state was in a six-wheel car. Because I can't remember offhand who drove the six-wheeled Williams.
Cool.
For those 10 minutes.
I have no objection to Ronnie Peterson.
Number 7. At the 2014 Monaco Grand Prix, Marcus Ericsson wore a special helmet in honour to me.
That would
Ronnie
absolutely
Peterson.
be Ronnie Peterson.
That fits in with the whole Swedish thing.
Yeah.
Number 9, George Harrison paid tribute to me in a song called Faster.
I do not know that song.
I don't know the
News
song.
to me.
But I'm guessing if he paid tribute was after he died.
Ronnie Peterson died in quite a spectacular fashion.
It was a horrible. What was it, like a fat embolism or something that actually killed him?
Yeah,
It
he survived the crash, and it was because of
stuff got in the
Stuff got
bloodstream,
in the
and
bloodstream
yeah, it
and-
sounded grim.
Yeah.
Number 9.
All right, Richmond.
I am a two-time runner-up Formula One Drivers' World Champion.
That sounds
Two-time
right.
runner-up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still think Ronnie Peterson.
Yeah.
Number 10. Some of my F1 teammates include Emerson Fittipaldi
At Lotus.
and Mario Andretti.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it's Ronnie Peterson.
yeah.
Would you like to go with Ronnie Peterson?
I think
I think
so.
we'll go Ronnie Peterson.
I'm Ronnie Peterson.
Yay.
The clue number 7, which I wouldn't give you, what should have been number 7 was, in my final
My
Formula
name is
One-
Ronnie Peterson.
In my final Formula One season, I became champion posthumously. Seeing as how there's only one posthumous world champion, that felt like a giveaway.
But it's not Ronnie Peterson.
No,
Is
it's
it
not.
No, it's
No.
Jochen Rindt.
Oh, fuck, it is Rocky Hockenrindt as well. Well, good job. I did leave that out. Maybe it's not right. Because there's only one posthumous world champion, isn't there?
Yep.
Yeah.
Jochen Rindt.
It was Jochen Rindt.
Yeah. Fact check your facts.
That's why you dropped it. You knew.
I did. Clearly part of my brain, like the sleeping part of it, just checks bullshit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
in his final season, he was 13th.
Well, to be fair, if he didn't do all the races, then you can't really hold that against him.
You're not a posthumous champion, though, are you? Yeah, if
Not
you,
posthumous 13th.
yeah, if you don't win.
Yeah, I'm just looking. Oh no, sorry. Final. I was looking on the wrong section. Final season, he did finish second.
What year was that?
78.
So that's the year that Andretti won the championship.
Yes.
And Andretti is very much alive. So there's no posthumous champion that year.
I think from the looks of things and the way that the scoring used to work in those days, I think Andretti was already champion by the start of the Italian Grand Prix.
Jochen Rindt was 1970, wasn't he? So he wouldn't have had the teammates of Fittipaldi, and definitely not Andretti. So, yeah. No, the posthumous world champion. Read that clue again, the one that you dropped because you thought was wrong.
Did I read it wrong?
Clue 7?
In my final Formula One season, I took second place posthumously. Sorry.
There you
Yeah.
go. You see, Samantha did have it correct.
She did have that
Sorry,
right. So
Sam.
thank you, Samantha. You were 100% accurate, and Lee
Yes.
less so.
Yeah, well,
Never mind telling people to check your facts.
Check
Check your words, Lee.
I could have lied. Yeah, but look how honest I am. I could have lied. None of yous would have known. She'd have complained to me. I wouldn't have answered.
It's a fair system, and no one can argue with it.
So if you want to send in a total shunt to be completely ghosted, how do you do that?
You can send me a private message on Instagram at a total shunt. You can send me a private message on Twitter at a total shunt. And I was going to say do it on TikTok, but don't, because there's enough ways of contacting me.
If you send it on TikTok, you've got to do all 10 clues by method of interpretive dance.
Oh my god! Yes, you've got to give me all the clues in a 30-second TikTok while doing a shuffle dance.
And if you want to get one on the reserve list, then drop us an email, threelegsportwheels@gmail.com. You can also use that email address to get in touch with us. And if you've got...
Thank you, Samantha, for that hunt.
Yes.
And definitely thank you to Samantha for that one. Also, if you want to send anything for the show, for a mailbag section, which we always keep threatening to do, but people don't send in emails, that's the...
Or they do, but they're not repeatable on the podcast.
How? Considering what we've spoken about today, what could they send in that could possibly not be repeatable?
Well, we are the editors of our own podcast, so we decide what goes on.
Oh, so some of them criticism. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had a mail earlier saying that we've won $175 million on the lottery.
Oh, wonderful.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. All we need to do is send all our passports and social security numbers. Oh, damn it, we're not American. We ain't got social security numbers. We're gonna have to turn that money down.
Can I send them my
it's fine.
tax reference number?
Yeah, and I'll send my bank details.
Yeah, 3 digits on the back of the card as well. If you could get those all together, and I'll send those off this week.
Can I just take a photo of my bank card? Does that work? Is that all right?
Front and back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Yeah, that'll do. Apparently they'll accept that.
Fantastic. I look
Absolutely.
forward to my share of the $175 million.
Yeah, if you can just provide your last
love the fact.
provide your last 5
we're
years of addresses as well.
I love the fact we're so careful with anything that comes to do with our money. But the minute we want a pizza, we will ring up, tell them our account number, our sort code number, and security number, and just wait half an hour for food.
When it comes to pizza, you have to.
Not only that, but they've got your phone number and your address.
Yes. Yeah.
And they know
Great.
what your favourite toppings are.
Yes.
And if they're on the Isle of Man, chances are they know your mother's maiden name because they
Yep.
know your mother.
Yeah, I've definitely been picked up by a taxi driver that does part-time delivery work, and before I could tell him where I wanted to go, he started driving me there. That's absolutely a thing that happened.
What else was I going to say? Yes. On the weekend of the 20th and 21st of November, the Three Legs Four Wheels esports team is taking part in the 23 Hours of Zolder, which is gonna be an interesting race. It's been
Now that's an old school circuit.
It really is. It's a race that's been put together by YouTube sim racing. I don't know. Do we call him legend? Do we call him unfeasibly fast guy? Jimmy Broadbent. And it's all in aid of Mind, which is a UK mental health charity. Now, obviously, going on the back of what I said a couple of weeks ago, it's a cause very close to me, and we're trying to raise as much money as possible. So I will share the Just Giving page. They're a fantastic charity, and they do a lot of work to support anyone in the UK, and they do actually have a branch on the Isle of Man as well. But they do a lot of support for mental health. So we're going to be putting a team in. There'll be a few of us from a variety of countries driving round the Zolder circuit in an undrivable Cadillac for 23 hours. This is why we're getting people from various countries to go in, because the Americans can do the night shift. See, there's a method to our madness here.
There is indeed.
I'm going to be streaming it on Twitch as well, and we'll be sort of soliciting for donations all the way up to the event, so you'll get sick of us talking about this for the next 4 weeks.
A fantastic cause, and well done everybody who's involved, and especially Jimmy Broadbent for putting it together. Everybody, I think, knows Jimmy Broadbent from the Formula One season that wasn't the Formula One season, when he was racing for Force India as it was at the time.
Yeah, and he's carried on sim racing since. His sim racing videos are really funny. He does review a lot of gear, and there was one video that sprung to mind. I told you guys about it earlier. He'd got this wireless Bluetooth wheel. Didn't even have any pedals, I don't think. The pedals were buttons on it. It was a complete sort of just a wheel without a stand and a support, and he was racing around the Daytona road course. And we'd just done the 24 Hours of Daytona the previous weekend, and he was saying this wheel was undrivable, the car was undrivable, it's bloody terrible. I think the wheel cost something like 30 quid on Wish, so we're talking quality here.
Oh, yeah.
And within about 20 minutes, he was matching the times that I was getting on my actual proper sim racing setup, and that was the point where I thought, maybe I should just sell all this, never do it again. So yeah, the guy is rapid. Very funny YouTube channel. Look him up, and obviously he's a real racer now because he's driving in real physical car series too. But we'll be doing that. We're trying to get him on the show. So if anybody knows him, sort of point him in our direction a little bit. I've pinged him various messages through the race stuff, but we'll try and get him soon. I think that's about it for this week, isn't it?
One of our listeners, I feel one of our listeners that follows me on Twitter knows him. I can't remember who it is. I'm such a man of the people.
If you are that person,
that
person that Lee's a man of, get in touch.
Yeah, no, I'm sure one of our listeners knows Mr. Broadbent.
Oh, excellent! No, it'd be good to have him on the show because he's genuinely a very funny guy.
Yeah.
Right, I think that's about it. We'll be back next week. We'll be previewing the Mexican Grand Prix and anything else that sort of comes up news-wise in the meantime. And I'm sure there will be 1 or 2 dozen tangents to talk about as well, because race preview shows always end up like that. We'll see you next week. Take care. Bye-bye.
Ciao.
Bye.